My other sort of passions, in addition to like, I really love programming, I really love video games and solving these complex problems and stuff. I also really enjoy sort of community building. This is something that I really discovered once I started my own company. I was the only programmer there. And I had, unlike previous companies where I worked at, or when I was at college, I'd have this support system around me where we have all these other people who are also majoring in computer science. And I have the faculty who are teaching computer science. And then I go get a job in the industry and I have all the other programmers that are around me working on the same project. And I have my technical director and so forth. And then I start my own company and it's just me. And I'm the only programmer. And then the question is like, who do you go to in that case when you have questions about what it is that you're doing? And so it's really nice to have these like sort of support communities. So once we started doing these IGDA meetings here, we started getting like larger and larger populations of people. And eventually it dawned on me, I was like, why am I driving all the way down to Cambridge to do this thing? Why don't we just create some sort of co-working space here in New Hampshire? And that's where Game Assembly came from, is we were like, we need a brick and mortar place so that all these developers in New Hampshire have somewhere to go, somewhere where there's coffee, desk space, fast internet, and you're surrounded by like-minded individuals, people who are interested in developing video games, people who would be the perfect people to bounce ideas off of, the perfect people to help you craft what it is that you're crafting. And that's where that came from. This idea of kind of like building communities, the types of jobs that I had in the game industry. Typically they settled on, so they're all very technical. They all have to do with programming, obviously. The first few companies that I worked for, I was mainly in charge of gameplay systems. So that's all the items and inventory and combat and AI, all that kind of stuff, right? The stuff that like makes a video game a video game. All those really like gamey elements that are like really fun. And that was the first few companies I worked for. I would be the person who, on that team, worked closest with the content designers or with the systems designers. So they're off thinking about what the game should be and how the game should work, and then they would take those documents and they would bring them to me, and I was sort of that interface to the rest of the technical team to sort of go and build and implement those systems. Once I started my own company, everything falls on your shoulders, right? Being the only programmer, it wasn't just doing gameplay stuff anymore. I was building an entire engine from scratch because we needed an engine back then. And it was building out all the support for audio and building out all the support for rendering stuff on the screen and building out all the support for like loading levels and all this other kind of stuff that you typically don't need to worry about when you have a much larger programming team or when you're using sort of like an off-the-shelf game engine. And then in some of the other like more recent stuff that I've done, my realm tends to be either doing gameplay type mechanics or doing like the online networking. And that's basically just all the multiplayer connection, server, online networking, backend databases, and also doing all this like gameplay. Originally, I think it was like my sophomore year. So I've always been really interested in computers. And it was around like my sophomore year of high school, I took like my first programming course. And I just really fell in love with programming. After that, I was like, I knew that that's what I wanted to do. Always loved video games as well. And so I knew I wanted to go to college for computer science, which is what I am going to college for. And it was around my junior year in college where it actually clicked that I could go into the game development industry as like a profession with a computer science background like that. Applying to IBM, Lockheed Martin, and all these like other big software development companies. I ended up getting a job offer from IBM, which I accepted. And then it was a few months later, I got a scholarship to go to GDC. And then while I was at GDC, there was a company that, sort of approached me and they were like, hey, we're looking for additional, programmers. Would you be interested? And even though I'd already accepted my offer with IBM, I said, yeah, of course. I mean, I'll come interview with you. And I was down in Arizona. I flew down there and it was sort of like night and day. I was wearing a suit. They were all wearing suits, cubicles. And then when I interviewed at this game development company, I was wearing jeans and button-down shirt probably, and they're all wearing cargo shorts and t-shirts and that kind of thing. And I was just like, this is absolutely the industry that I want to work in, as opposed to going into larger corporate companies and that kind of stuff. Yeah, and it was absolutely worth it. So that's kind of what got me into software development. That's what got me into the video industry.